Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be her ex husband started causing problems and drama, so I dumped her. So, this particular email is from a viewer. He was with this girl for about 8 months, and she had gotten divorced like about 6 years before. Her husband basically cheated on her with another woman and then left her and divorced her for this other woman. And so she moved a couple 100 miles away, I guess, to be closer to family, took her kid with her. And the only time they really talked was to exchange their child a couple times a year when he would visit with her. And so after he said things are great for about the first half of the relationship, and then you reap what you sow in life. Karma's a bitch. Karma comes for all. So this woman that he was cheating with and left his wife for ended up cheating on him. I know, big surprise. Once a cheater, always a cheater. It's like 95% of the relationships that come from cheating tend to end in cheating. And so ever since he basically found out that his new love was cheating on him, now he's decided he's going to move a couple 100 miles away to be closer to his son, who basically in 2 years is going to graduate from high school. And so that's all well and good, but what started happening is he started sending his ex-wife, this guy who sent the email and his now girlfriend, long diatribe texts. They'd be on vacation together, and he would call her, and then she would have to step out of the room and be on a long phone call. And it just was happening so much, it was getting irritating. And he came to realize, it's like, why is the guy all of a sudden going to move to be there? He doesn't know anybody, has no family there, supposedly for his son, who's going to basically graduate high school in 2 years, and he'll be an adult anyways. And because this guy was never in her life, and so he's sending long texts, he's apologizing for dicking her over and treating her so poorly. And what it really looks like is he's trying to get back together with her, which of course this woman was denying and saying, oh, it was only co-parenting issues. But it happened a number of times. It happened on vacations. It happened when they're hanging out together. They're enjoying their day, their evening, their weekend or whatever. And then the ex-husband calls, and then she's on the phone for an hour or two, however long it happens to be. And so he had several talks about it, and he set some healthy boundaries. Like, this guy's wanting to get back together with you now. And since she was the one that got left for another woman and got divorced, because she obviously didn't see that coming, probably rejection breeds obsession. And so on some level, because they were together for 20 years, on some level, maybe she wasn't completely over it. And so she's telling the emailer that, oh, it's just co-parenting, and she was just dismissive of his concerns. And then so after it happened, another time after they'd had a conversation about it, he was just like, I'm done. I'm out. We've talked about this. You're dismissive of my concerns. It's not normal for your ex-husband, who has not been involved in your life or your son's life, other than maybe seeing him twice a year, to now wanting to be talking all the time, and now he's going to move to the same city that we live in, and I'm supposed to believe that it's just because he wants to be more involved in his kid's life. So let's go through his email, because if you're going to get involved with somebody that was married once before, they got kids, it's like you don't want to put up with this crap. And you want her to respect your boundaries. And if she's just not going to respect your boundaries, well, why would you want to be in a relationship? I mean, you spend all this money to go on a vacation with your girl, and her ex-husband's calling with her, drooling all over on the phone, or complaining or whining, or trying to apologize and make up for the fact that he cheated on her and left her and divorced her for another woman, and now he's gotten cheated on. So it's an interesting email nonetheless. You want your life to be a drama-free zone. And things are good initially, but as soon as the guy decides he's going to move to town because he wants to be more involved in his kid's life, then he was calling and texting all the time. And he just got sick of it. And nobody wants to put up with that. And especially when the woman just denies it. Oh, it's not true. You're overreacting. That kind of crap. So he says, "Hey, coach, years ago you did a video for me on boundaries, and I feel like we're back here again. Still following the book and advice. I haven't really dated seriously as vetting rules out a lot of people within a few months." Well, people who are good to you, good for your soul, are rare. They hardly ever come along. And what I always compare it to is, how often do you meet a new best friend? It's something that's special and hardly ever happens. So you have to be patient, and your path is your path. Your path is different than anybody else's. He says, "I haven't really dated seriously as vetting rules out a lot of people within a few months. And 9 months ago, I met a great girl, and we dated for 8. She checked all the right boxes. We enjoyed a ton of the same things. Best compatibility I've had since I got divorced over 6 years ago. Here's how it went. Tell me your thoughts." So 9 months ago, 1 month since the breakup, I think he was dating somebody else at the time, had a breakup, and then he meets this new girl. He says, "I met a great girl on all levels. We took it slow and built a really solid foundation and relationship. I feel like we had a really great chance of making it. Tons of adventures, great memories, etc. We're both fairly active and low maintenance relationship-wise. I don't think I could ever be with someone very needy, and this was a wonderful thing about her. About 6 months in, she mentioned her ex-husband was moving to our state. I felt a little blindsided. She had known this for some time, and I would have liked to have known this up front. When she told me the details, it really didn't make any sense for someone to uproot their life hundreds of miles away, move to a state with no ties 6 years after they divorced." Yeah, that's pretty suspect. He says, "No family here other than her and the kid. Under the sole reason," this was the ex-husband, "the only reason he supposedly wants to move there is for their son, who would be graduating in less than 2 years from high school." So he's going to be an adult and hopefully get his own life. But it's like, where's the guy been the last 6 years? He didn't seem to care, but now he does. It's like, come on. And as soon as he gets cheated on and left, he says, "Here's some background, which we will get later on. The skeptical part of the story was that the ex had cheated on her after 20 years of marriage, blindsided her with a divorce. She immediately moved to my home state 6 years ago. I assume she probably had friends, family there or whatever. The girl I dated and the ex really didn't have much contact other than exchanging her son twice a year to visit with him." So he was kind of absentee father that didn't really give a shit, wasn't around. He was living his new life with his new woman. She and I communicated very well. I had asked at once if she was sure she fully dealt with all of her emotions on this for obvious reasons. Well, remember, rejection breeds obsession. He left her after 20 years of marriage for another woman and divorced her on top of that. Just tossed her aside like trash. And clearly, if he was okay with just seeing his son twice a year, he didn't really give a shit too much about his kid either. You never really have to deal with it when you just run away for a lack of better terms. So he's kind of looking at this thinking, she gets left, gets divorced because the husband's having an affair after 20 years. And it's kind of understandable that she's going to want to go where she's got family and comfort and a support system to help raise the kid. Probably got grandparents, aunts, uncles, things of that nature. Also, his decision to move was also around the time that he was cheated on by the girl he left her for. He says, "I know, karma, LOL. Karma comes for all. You can't outrun it. Still, she was great to me, so I decided to give it a chance and see how it played out. As time got closer to the move, the problem started. He would frequently call her and write textbooks about how sorry he was. So he's sending these long texts. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so remorseful. I broke up our family. I mean, you can just imagine what the guy is sending her. That's not normal. When he was didn't give a shit and he was gone for 6 years. Now all of a sudden he cares about her son only. It's like, come on. He says that he really screwed up, and he would seem to call and interrupt while it was known we were spending time together with non-kid related subjects. So he knows that she's out with her new boyfriend, the guy who wrote the email, but yet he's calling anyway. He's texting her anyway. Why would you want to deal with that? That's just rude. She should have, if she really cared, if she was really a good, loyal person, she would have been like, I'm on a trip, I'm hanging out with my boyfriend, we're on vacation together, whatever happens to be. But she didn't do that. She kept taking his call, dropped what she was doing, basically put this guy on hold until she spent an hour or two on the phone with whatever supposed emergency it was. Yeah, and again, this guy he wasn't even around. The only time they talked was twice a year to exchange his son. Other than that, he didn't give a fuck. And so that wasn't the only thing he was doing. So he would seem to call and interrupt while it was known we were spending time together with non-kid related subjects. He also started reaching out to her family living here in inappropriate ways. So now he's trying to get it back into the good graces with her family. That's not somebody that's just trying to be involved in their son's life. That's somebody that's trying to repair things and hopefully get their family back together. He says a few times she stopped while we were hanging out to have lengthy conversations with him. I mean, can you imagine being on a date or a dinner with your girl in a nice restaurant, romantic evening, and then the ex-husband calls and then she gets up and goes, leaves the room, goes outside the restaurant or whatever, on the phone for an hour, who knows how long. That's just fucking rude. She should have said, I can't talk now, I'm on a date, or I'm with my significant other, and she didn't do that. Actions speak louder than words, you know. If women vote with their feet, if they're with you, they voted for you. So it's not like it was a one-time thing. It was just constant. Because the only thing you can think of is the guy's trying to get back together with his wife and repair all the damage that he did. Because now he's got nobody. Because the woman that he left her for and divorced her for ended up cheating on him. And I assume leaving him for probably another dude. He said, we had several talks about this behavior, not in a jealous or insecure way, just like, hey, you do realize your ex is burning the torch, and I feel like he's moving here for you after getting dumped and not the kid. Also, this is interfering with our time together, and it's inappropriate. Yeah, no guy wants to put up with that shit. It's like he's not respecting her life and her new relationship, but it's pretty clear she's giving him the green light to do it because she keeps answering his calls and answering his texts and expecting her boyfriend to sit there with his thumb up his ass while, you know, she goes and drops what she's doing for the man that cheated on her and left her and divorced her for another woman. And now he's back in the picture. But they had 20 years together. So that was a lot of time. And he dumped her. She assured me that she would handle it, even though she denied seeing his behavior as anything more than co-parenting. He says, well, this happened twice more. I brought it up, and her attitude towards me was dismissive. Well, he's not a priority. The husband became the priority again. So, I mean, she's kind of voting with her feet there. If you're telling her, it's like, hey, this is inappropriate. You've already told me that this was not going to happen again, and yet here we are. We're on a vacation together. We're on a date, and you're putting pause on us and our plans so you can go talk to your ex-husband, who, quite frankly, hasn't been around for the last 6 years. He left you for another woman and divorced you on top of that. That's pretty obvious. But the fact that she's denying it and is dismissive of it shows that probably on some level she's probably open to a reconciliation. I mean, again, they spent 20 years together. She refused to see the behavior as anything other than healthy co-parenting. Again, where was this the last 6 years? He didn't care. Twice a year he got to see his son. Other than that, he wasn't even in touch. So it's like, that's just absurd. The last time, per usual, While she and I were on vacation, another interruption happened, leading to a lengthy conversation with him while we were together. Can you imagine you're on the beach? Oh, my ex-husband's calling me, and he's never been around the last 6 years, but this is, a co-parenting thing. And so she leaves for a half hour, who knows how long. And then you're sitting there going, it's like, I spent all this money to bring my girl on an expensive trip, and yet here she is on the phone with her ex-husband who didn't give a shit about her until he got dumped by the woman he cheated on her and left her with and divorced her with. I chose the end of the relationship and explained why. I had lost faith in her ability to handle the situation. Well, if we take a step back and we look at her actions, it was clear she was willing to risk her relationship with this new guy in order to drop what she was doing to listen to whatever the ex-husband had to say. It's like if you're, taking, it's expensive going on a vacation. You're what, 8-10 grand for a really nice vacation. You're going for a week or two at a time. All the food, the travel, the planes, the hotel, the rental car. You're dropping all this money to show her a good time, and she's like, "Oh, I got to talk to my ex-husband." It's like, I don't think so. Or that she was even willing to handle it. I felt like it was a lose-lose. Either it had the potential of being a ton of drama, or the potential of her going back to him with the history of a 20-year marriage plus a kid. Her inability and unwillingness to set the boundary with him was my deciding factor that I wasn't in a good situation or place. Again, it's like she showed you through her actions that you weren't really that important. That it was more important to talk to the ex-husband who really dicked her down bad, and now he's moving to her state. It's like, come on. It's always difficult to walk away from someone great. Well, she wasn't that great if she's treating you this way. I understand people can't control other people, but they can control their response to it and how it interferes with their life and subsequently mine. Well, the other thing you're kind of leaving out, because you're like, you walked away from somebody great. She made a commitment to you. She said she was going to nip it in the bud and stop it, but she didn't. She said one thing and she did another. So, like attracts like. Liars and cheaters tend to attract other liars and cheaters. And so on some level, that's probably the way she was. That value system is clashing with this guy's. A loyal and family-oriented woman is going to be like, hey, you had your chance. You left me for somebody else and divorced me on top of that. So a good loyal woman is just like, I'm on vacation. If she'd have seen the phone call and he leaves this long diatribe, I'm on vacation. Unless this is an emergency, it's inappropriate for you to be calling me. But she didn't do that, not even once. She gave the guy the green light to keep calling and texting her and always dropping what she was doing, putting her boyfriend on hold to go talk to the ex-husband. That's not what a loyal woman's going to do. That's a woman that's open to rekindling things with her significant other. Because again, you just bottom line the actions. I always like to sit back and see how people will conduct themselves versus hammering them about concerns and continuing to pressure them. Demanding her to do things. I just looked at the situation for what it was and her behavior. I felt that if her mind and heart was all the way in our relationship, that she and I wouldn't even need to have those conversations. True. Again, look at the actions. Women vote with their feet. If you're on a trip and she takes off to go talk to the ex-husband who hasn't been around for the last 6 years, other than twice a year getting the kid for a week or two, and now all of a sudden it's just co-parenting. It's like, come on. She would have naturally ran the ex off. And as always, I'd love to hear your thoughts. It's like, well, man, it sucks. But at the end of the day, she showed you through her actions that it was more important to be talking to her ex-husband, the guy who lied to her and cheated on her, left her and divorced her, than a guy who's been treating her good and been a good boyfriend for, based on everything you shared here. So, she could fucking pound sand. Maybe she learns a lesson, or maybe she thinks that, because again, rejection breeds obsession, that things will be different this time around. Maybe the ex-husband learned his lesson because he got burned, and now he's coming back with his tail between his legs. And more than likely, say she does get back together with this guy, he'll probably cheat on her again at some point. And you might even hear from her again in the future when or if that actually happens. So, sounds like you dodged a bullet. You gave her the benefit of the doubt, and I mean, she didn't respect your boundaries, so you had to enforce them, and you tapped out, and you sent her threw her ass back to the streets. So, good for you, because if she's willing to entertain these kind of conversations with the ex, that's not going to build trust. Because then you're always going to be wondering, who's she talking to? Where's she at? Why is she late? What's she doing? Where's she at? Again, the kid's about to graduate in, what, a year and a half? It's like, come on, man. So good for you, Bob, for telling her to pound sand, and you'll ride off, because you can always date a younger, hotter woman that doesn't have this fucking bullshit going on. But I think you did the right thing, man. Good job. I know it's tough. It's not easy. But, you know, you're not going to play second fiddle to some chick that doesn't look like she's over her ex, leaving her for another woman, cheating on her, and divorcing her. So if you got a question or challenge and you want to get my help, go to understandingrelationships.com, click the products tab at the top of your screen on any page of my website, and book a coaching session with yours truly. If you haven't already signed up for our exclusive premium members-only content in the video description of this video, there are links to join on YouTube, or you can join on Spotify, or you can consume our members-only content on the website, understandingrelationships.com. Just click the Plans tab when you get there, and you can do a 7-day free trial with the website, and you get a 25% discount if you choose an annual plan. And remember, on Thursdays and Fridays every week, we do viewer question live streams for about 2 hours. So on Thursdays from 2 to 4, and Friday from 1 to 3. That's Eastern Standard Time, the same time zone as Miami and New York. I'll be myself, Chunky, and the girls, and we'll be happy to answer whatever questions you guys got. So you can go to the homepage of my YouTube channel at Coach Corey Wayne, click the live tab, and then just scroll down to whatever day that you want to tune in for and hit the notify tab, or just tune in at 2 p.m. Eastern on Thursday or 1 p.m. Eastern on Fridays. Until next time, I will talk to you soon.